Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Connecticut at your service. My name is Carmen Nieves, and I am your host. And like every week, we bring individuals into our space to share either information, to educate us on something. And today is a very, very special show because we're focusing on ways to get over financial trauma. I was at a meeting and I heard that. I'm like, that's so true. So today we have two amazing people that are part of the Family First Initiative. And I'd like to introduce you to
Chris Mercer, who is the founder and CEO of the Family First Initiative, a nonprofit dedicated to helping families and communities build lasting legacies through education, health programs, and financial empowerment. Under his leadership, FFI is set to launch initiatives such as TRIO, LEAD, and Dream Moms, and Rise Up Youth Legacy Circle, while addressing critical health issues like diabetes, vitiligo, fentanyl awareness, and cancer support. His mission is simple: to create sustainable systems that empower families today and for generations to come.
And we have Jessie Toro, a dedicated mother, community advocate, and co-founder of Family First Initiative. As a woman living with type 1 diabetes, she brings a powerful perspective on resilience, community, and generational legacy. Through FFI initiatives like Dream Moms and Wings, she works to empower families and mothers to build lives of stability, purpose, and lasting impact.
So welcome, Jessie and Chris. Thank you so much for being part of this today. I have to tell you, for viewers that don't know, the way that I recruit individuals to come and speak, or that I feel like we want to hear more about, is I go to meetings and I see such amazing people that just have such an opportunity to share and educate families and really kind of take people to the next level of not only thinking but doing as well. So I want to start with the person that I know, that I love, that I have been for so long. We've been together in the community in service and in faith and all of that through the Parent Leadership Training Institute.
Yes,
so Jessie and I go back a long way, Chris, in serving the community. I've seen, her kids. I know she's got grandbabies and all of that, which she just absolutely loves. And we're gonna get a little bit into the type 2 diabetes and all of that, but I wanted them to introduce each other because they're a tag team. I'm like, I'm gonna just change it. So, and Chris, so I saw you speaking at a meeting that was through the Black Business Alliance.
Yes.
And you were talking about, we were having a conversation and then we're talking about financial trauma.
Yes.
How families, despite our best efforts, and before the show, we were talking a lot of reasons why people don't. Some people just whatever, and then some people don't know any better. So I'm really excited to hear how you founded and what gave you the idea behind Family First.
Okay. Family First Initiative started as a meeting of the minds, bringing together like-minded individuals to help resolve causes, things that plagued our communities. It came to a point where I started to realize that the things that weren't left to me, that I started to see all these other people had. We didn't have the resources in our communities to build things like trusts and properly structure life insurance and things of that nature. So I felt the need to, put something together to help people that are less fortunate or underprivileged or don't even know where to start to be able to find those resources and be able to implement them not only in their families but also within our communities.
So Jessie, Chris is, by lack of a better word, kind of the mastermind behind the work, right?
Yes.
In what ways do you bring it into the community to make sure that people are getting the information?
Since PLTI, I have done I have been in the nonprofit world quite a bit. I did Families for Excellent Schools for 5 years, and it was just helping generate the funds and go up to Hartford to be able to get our kids a little bit of a different environment as far as education. And I worked in a regional network of programs, which is also another nonprofit, working with our drug and alcohol community. With that instilled and that in my heart, we have cultivated or included all those ideas and initiatives and built Family First.
So coming out to shows like these,
Yes.
tabling at events.
Yes.
You know, if
Networking.
people wanted to, Chris, if people wanted to hear from you guys, how can they reach you?
So we are on Facebook as well as Instagram. So on Facebook, it's at Family First Initiative. On Instagram, it's family_first_initiative. You can always reach out to us there. We also have an email address, which you'll see on the screen, info@familyfirstinitiative.org.
So I want to get into the 4 pillars of your work. So we have a little slide so that people can kind of see kind of like how this formula, and if you could read to us kind of what Family First is as a quick description.
Okay, so as it states, providing education and support systems that strengthen health, financial literacy, and cultural values with family at its core. It's in the name. We're Family First Initiative. We take the initiative to put family first.
That's awesome. And you saw the need, like you said earlier, about that needing people to be educated.
Yes.
And then you had this vision. So what became your call to action?
My call to action was, my primary call to action was actually after my father passed, realizing that he actually passed away from a fentanyl overdose, and realizing that, you know, his legacy carried on in our memories, but there really was no action being taken towards the causes which plagued us once again. So again, that's on the, you know, health and wellness or drug side of things, but just in general, all of these traumas are generational traumas. It's not just being hurt or being sad or being, you know, depressed, but you also have things like generational wealth. You know, where most families that come from urban neighborhoods don't have generational wealth. They haven't structured
Or understand even what that is.
or understanding, right? So they don't know where to start. So to be able to structure their, what we call flow or their rhythm, you know, of businesses or insurance, to make sure that those things carry throughout their families, but also passing along that education to children, because legacy is more than just what you leave behind, it's what you live today. But it's also a mindset. It's a mindset that you have to teach the next generation. So when you leave these things to them, whether it be a house or a car or money or just the mindset. Some people don't have the assets to leave behind, but mentality is a huge asset.
Wow, it just gives you a lot to think about. So in that, what programs have you developed to help families?
The primary programs that we developed specifically for families is LEAD, which is Legacy for Active Dads, or Legacy Empowerment for Active Dads. And then we created the Rise Up Youth Legacy Circle, which is kind of daughter program to that one. We decided to do these programs separately, also Dream Moms. We decided to do these programs separately so that we can kind of tap into each field without one being infiltrated by another, so to speak. You have a lot of times where children are afraid to speak around their parents, right? So to have their own youth circles where they're amongst their peers and they're able to learn and speak about legacy is empowering for them. The same way, you know, you have women who might have gone through trauma, may that be abuse or whatever the case may be, that have a hard time being able to connect with circles of men or people that would be in the LEAD program, right? But all in all, we have moms, dads, and children that might be in all of these programs. So being able to bring them together under another umbrella, which we call the trio, right? So that's going from kids from the age of 3 all the way up to 12, and then we have Youth Legacy Circle goes from the age of 10 to the age of 18. That's when we get into LEAD and we get into Dream Moms, right? So it's kind of a program that they can start off as young children and they can graduate through the levels of the different programs, and essentially become leaders themselves, become empowerers themselves.
Kids mirror what they mirror, you know, what they see.
Yes.
So I'm gonna take the slide down, but the last thing I want you to share with us is, what is the community impact that you're starting to see?
The community impact I'm starting to see, a lot of it stems from the advocacy, just communicating with people and educating them on legacy and what legacy means. Most people are under the impression that legacy is just what you leave behind, the stuff, right? So they kind of clock out in ways where they're not actively pursuing it. They're not actively doing things to build their legacy. So I always believe intent is very big. So living on purpose, breathing on purpose, building on purpose. So I'm starting to see more and more people that are willing to do that because they have the tools to do that with.
And just demystify the
Yes.
financial trauma. And it's not even, you know, even if people that say they have nothing have something.
Yes.
You know, so my husband and I think maybe, I don't remember what set it off, but we ended up having our wills done, right? And that's something and we have what they call a mirror will. And I will tell you, a lot of families don't have like they don't own, so they are not mandated to get insurance,
Right.
but they don't have like renter's insurance or
Right.
fire or something.
Right.
They're completely out of everything. And if somebody passes, even because we had a guest on our show, and a lot of people aren't talking about it, but I hope that one of the workshops that you do is explain to people about wills.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, because
Yes.
there's some that you can even do yourself, or like, you know, what happens to you if you become incapacitated and can't make, you know, because then we're leaving that to our kids and to our families
Right.
to have to deal with. Like, our kids know exactly what it is, but even that is leaving a level of respect, because even before the show, you were saying sometimes people didn't leave behind anything because they didn't know.
Right.
Or businesses, we were talking about businesses that every time we get a little bit of money, we're like, we're gonna reinvest it back
Right.
in the business. And it isn't that we're doing anything malicious, but what might be some advice that you might be able to give families that just are just making it through the day and just aren't, not that they're not wanting to do that, but they're not knowing how to start that.
It all starts with mindset, right? So it starts with education. A lot of us, myself included, my family included, a lot of us understand what legacy is, but don't know where to start, don't know what to include in legacy. And as we were just discussing, most people's premise of legacy is stuff. You don't want to leave stuff. You want to leave a mindset. A mindset is going to teach the youth, it's going to teach the dads, the moms, how to hold on to that stuff, how to grow that stuff. Finances, for instance, how to properly structure life insurance so your life insurance is growing, how to properly make investments, right? So even though legacy is not always about finance, a big part of it is how you treat finances, right?
Or the things of value.
Things of value, that's a better way to say it, but the things of value, right? And it's all of the mindset will teach you the things that you should put value in, right? Because a lot of that is family, right? You put value in family, you'll get value out of family. You put value in a business, you're gonna get value out of your business. Put value in your bank account, your investment account, you're going to get value out of that. So if you're teaching this mindset to not only build, but to sustain that legacy, it's going to go very far. And one thing that we believe in is the 7+ generation clause, right? For all of the businesses that we build, we have to think and we have to plan, we have to build 7 generations out, 7 generations beyond our current generation. So my children's 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 children are being thought of in what I'm planning right now, or what we are planning right now.
Wow, that's a lot, Jesse. What do you think about that?
Oh, I'm 110% behind it, because I've seen what every other organization has had to offer, but this type of mindset is really critical, even in not only educating financially, but physically and mentally. It's sustainable. It makes us feel motivated. It helps us build self-empowerment and grow within ourselves to become better for our kids to follow suit.
And I think about when we were talking how it's all about preparing into what's important that you want to leave behind for those 7 generations. I mean, people think, you know, when we were trying to do our will, they were like, you need to have a book where all your things for your appliances and your car and all of that. And we have like a 3-family house. So for us, we can become very fearful. You know what I mean? Because we have 5 families living in that, in that 3-family, and one goes down, it all goes down.
Right.
So I love how you were talking about teaching the community, because we have to build from the ground up. You know what I mean? So I love, we were talking about your logo. I want folks to kind of see your logo and tell me what that is, and then I want to know about your programs.
Okay, so the logo that you see here on our shirts.
He's like, the logo you see right here.
This here, it's layered. As you see, there are the different concentric rings, similar to an onion, similar to life, similar to government, similar to anything you can think of. There are layers to everything. If you see at its core, there's the pot of gold, right? Around that pot of gold, you have your family. So it starts off with the first ring being the lower generation, or the children, the next ring being what would be our generation, and then the next one from there being what, the Gen Xers, right? So you have those concentric circles, and we also have the leaf, because we're very I guess you would say nature focused, and that ties directly into our programs as well. But a single leaf can make all the difference.
Wow. So I just want to remind folks that we are here with Chris Mercer, Jesse Toro of the Family First Initiative that's all about building wealth, educating, sustainability, and you focus on things like health. What else?
Health and wellness.
Health and
we
wellness.
focus on legacy, generational wealth building. We help provide the financial tools as well as educational curriculums. We try to help automate those processes so no one has to run around to all the banks and all the insurance companies to try to sort these things out. We provide intake tools for them to be able to fill out, and we use the resources at our fingertips to be able to help them put together things that are specific to their goals, their will, and what they would like to see happen.
So that's amazing. And Jesse, do you like triage? Because you're like all community, right? So
Yes.
if a family says, I need this or that, you're almost doing case management then.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're really about taking on our community
Yes.
families. I think that that's incredible. So what advice would you give? So we all, because we were talking about before, we've all had a purpose that catapulted us into this business.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was losing my grandson, and kind of where you start off, you never think that that's where you're going to end.
Mm-hmm.
Yours was something that you had noticed within your own family and community. So while we have a second, because I do want to spend some time on programming, where do you see Family First Initiative going?
I see us actually within the next 2 years being a national organization.
Wow.
And hopefully within the next 5 to 10 being able to offer at the very least our resources and our curriculum on a global scale.
So you actually have a financial literacy curriculum?
Yes, a proprietary curriculum for financial literacy, proprietary curriculum for creating wills and trusts, all of the above. Everything that we stand for, we created our own curriculums to be able to promote. Even with the trio that I was telling you about, there's a children's book, there's a digital companion, there's a digital forest that will end up being on actual land once we get the funding for it. And through that, we hope to be able to, promote that curriculum, get that curriculum out there. We hope that with the trio, we can get that into things like homeschools, right? And with the trio, we're doing more than just teaching the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. We're teaching value. Mm-hmm. We're teaching things they don't teach in school. They took home ec out of schools, right? So we want to teach things that are going to give kids real life utility, real world solve in the things that they're doing every day. They don't write in cursive anymore. They don't know how to balance a bank book, right? So all of this stuff, putting that in a standard curriculum, giving them morals or values. And the great thing about it is it's not our morals and values. It's your family's morals and values. It's your family's morals and values. So with the trio, we're able to have it customized in such a way to where you're instilling your values and reading these books to your children in interaction with the digital companions.
And you're still growing.
Oh, yes.
Because your other projects have already started. And Jesse, I asked you this while we were off camera, but I noticed that and if you guys remember from the very first logo that we put on the sheet, there was a bunch of symbols and they all had like butterflies. So I was stalking Jesse's Facebook page so I could get a picture to put it on there, and I noticed that she had butterflies, and then she's in the studio and she's got earrings that are butterflies. So I want you to just share the story that you shared about how that became a symbol for you.
Growing up in Bridgeport, I had friends in school that were basically passing away. Bridgeport in the beginning, back in the 80s when I was here, was a little bit difficult. The streets were, there was a lot of drug activities, and kids didn't have a way to outsource, and they weren't community involved. So when I got pregnant, I was young still. I was 19 when I got pregnant. And I had just gave birth to my daughter, and that same night, the nurse at Bridgeport Hospital had stitched butterflies onto their hats, and it would just opened up a floodgate of feeling purposeful at that point, and that's why I carry and have butterflies everywhere that I'm at.
And it just because you think about that, it's like a cocoon and it becomes
Yes.
kind of like a butterfly, just like what you guys
Transition.
are doing. That even in that you guys saw my space, that transitional too.
Yes.
We're gonna take this caller. Hello, caller, and welcome to Connecticut at your service. Do you have a question for our guest?
So I was really interested in that child program that I heard about, the youth program.
Oh, what a great question.
Would you guys be willing to talk a little bit more about that?
Of course. So Rise Up Youth Legacy Circle. It's actually something that's spearheaded by my daughter Angelique. She is on the youth advisory board for Family First Initiative, and it's one of these. It's one that was built around the kids, right? It's not based on my ideas. It's based on their ideas. It's again built based on teaching them how to grow and build legacy. It's teaching them the concepts of legacy, and once again, similar to what we do with the adults, how to sustain legacy, how to get out into the community, how to build resumes, right? Because the very thing of working for a nonprofit or being a part of a nonprofit is something that looks great on your legacy, great on your rapport, great on all of your all of your documentation as you get older. So putting something like that together to be able to give back to the community, to get them in the spirit of giving and not just receiving, right? And then along with that comes the youth legacy. Along with that comes the educational tools that they can then take and pass on to their peers, their kids as they get older and have them as
How
well.
can this young lady get involved in that group? Is it just emailing you? Is it calling you? How would a young person get started if they wanted to be a part of that?
So anyone that wants to be a part of any of our programs, specifically our youth programs, I know you guys are very tech savvy, so you guys can meet us on Instagram or Facebook. I gave you that before, but our Facebook, Family First Initiative, and our Instagram, family_first_initiative. But for a lot of people, it's easier to just email. Our email address is info@familyfirstinitiative.org. You can reach out to us there, ask any questions you may have. We can even get you through our intake program to where we can find what best suits you, right? We don't like to put anyone in positions. We like for their positions to pick them. So if you want to be a volunteer, the program will pick you. You'll determine what it is that, that you're best at.
I love that because I was going to ask you that. How can people get involved? But hang on.
Yes.
Caller, did you have another question?
No, thank you. That answered.
Listen, thank you so much for calling and keep watching.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay. What did I ask you?
You were asked. So before the youth stuff, you were asking as far as the community impact and what we hope to see. So hopefully, our goal, not hopefully because it will happen, but our goal is to eventually become a global curriculum for legacy empowerment. Our biggest thing is empowerment and intention, right? So doing things on purpose as long as it's for the greater good of humanity.
Give us three tips of how someone can start saving money, even if they don't have a lot of money.
To start saving money, put a little bit away at a time, but don't put it somewhere where it's going to grow. That's the biggest thing that I can tell anyone. Put it in somewhere that it's going to grow. Most people put their money into a bank, into a savings account, and you're getting a very small percentage per year, as opposed to being able to put it in something like a Fidelity investment account. That's going to exponentially grow over a year or 2 years or 3 years. And as long as you keep putting little by little, you don't have to, it's like buying stocks. Nowadays, you can buy micro shares or fractional shares of stocks. You don't have to buy an entire stock, right? People are into Bitcoin. You don't have to buy an entire Bitcoin, which is almost $120,000, right? But then you can take $5 here, $5 there, and put it into an investment account over time. It's the same one with like a 529 plan. 529 plans are college plans for kids. You can start when they're babies, putting $10 a week, $10 a month, $100 a month, $100 a year, whatever that is. Imagine that growing over 18 years and compounding interest over time. You're setting them up for success.
And just start small. So that was one.
Yes.
So save your money. What's another way that people can either make money, save money?
Trying not to live frivolously, right? Not living beyond your means. Understanding what it takes, because as the economy, as changes happen within the economy, it becomes one of those things where we, like with inflation, for instance, we can go buy, we bought a loaf of bread 2 years ago and it was $1.99. Now a loaf of bread is $3. A gallon of milk is almost $8, right? So it's knowing where to find a bargain, right? Shopping effectively and again, just not spending frivolously, being able to put money to the side. Set a goal.
That's the third
Set a goal. That's the third one. Set a goal. Once you set your goal, do everything you can to achieve that goal. A financial goal. You want to get a car? Figure out the roundabout cost of what it's going to cost you to get a car. Figure out what you can cut out of your expenses to save towards your assets. Assets are key. Assets over liabilities.
Mm-hmm. And if somebody wanted to get started with, are you having an event are you in the works of planning some events where people can come and find out about how do they get started with different
Yes. So September 1st, we have a small community meeting that we're doing via Zoom where we're going to talk about some more of the programs and things. This is a part of the fine-tuning process, more internal than anything.
So if somebody wants to go to that, they can just email you at info?
They'll email us and we can get them we can
Mm-hmm.
get them involved. But then on September 14th, we're doing the first Rise Up Youth Legacy Circle meeting where we're going to get together a group of kids and we're going to go through prompts and things. We're going to give them a small curriculum for the day to teach them about legacy. They're going to come in. We're going to ask them about legacy. Then we'll teach them about legacy and then ask them what they understand about legacy. We're going to have them do everything down to a time capsule, right? So what are your goals today? Your 3-year, 5-year, 10-year goals. What do you want to be when you grow up? All of this stuff goes into a time capsule. 5 years, 10 years down the line, we uncap the time capsule and it's a comparison. Where are you now compared to where you thought you would be?
I think part of when I think about the setting goals is that something always happens.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I joke around. It's like, I don't know, but in the air they smell we got money in the bank, and that's when the car breaks down, or, and I'm like, so I think part of one of the things that I've had to learn to teach myself is that not to feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, listen, you gotta get the car fixed or you're not going nowhere, So just, it's okay.
And that's
just
part
like
of
when people die and they're like, oh my God, I messed up today. Don't feel bad, just
keep
start
going
again tomorrow.
Right, and that's a lot where planning and saving comes in. Because again, you have these expenses, but even for saving, you have to have different accounts for your savings. So you have an expense fund, you have an emergency fund, right? So delegating, making sure that your money is delegated. And if this emergency fund, don't touch it.
This is an emergency.
Don't touch it.
I gotta get my nails done. That's not an emergency.
Right. So
for me, it might be an emergency.
Right.
figuring out what's important, right? If it's that important to you to get an apartment, to get a car, to get an education, then you're going to do everything it takes to do that, right? But a lot of people that grow up in urban neighborhoods, we see the nice things, but we aren't taught how to obtain those things and to sustain those things. So part of what we offer are services to give a mindset or education on how to obtain and sustain those things.
So you're very articulate and very well spoken and all of that. So as you empower others, who empowers you, and kind of like who are you grateful for? We have literally about a minute and a half.
It's a reciprocal, right? I'm also a DJ, right? So as a DJ, I get up there and I'm on the turntables, and the vibe that I'm giving to the crowd and the vibe that they're giving back, we feed off of that back and forth, right? To see families together, to see people actually grasp the concept of legacy and be willing to take it head on, that's what empowers me. The fact that I can even offer this to people empowers me.
Awesome. How about you, Jessie? Who inspires you?
My children, to begin with.
And your grandbabies.
And my grandbabies. But in all reality, I had a hard upbringing. And I've seen so many people that I love just fall out of this earth. So I want to make sure that they're leaving a legacy behind. I want to make sure that the kids are remembering who they were and what they set forth for them. So
and the mark you left on.
And the mark
and the memories.
Yes.
So we are almost out of time. So Jessie, Chris, tell us one more time how to reach you, and then we gotta
All right, so once and for all, you guys can write this down. You can reach us at info@familyfirstinitiative.org. You can reach us on Facebook at Family First Initiative. You can reach us on Instagram at family_first_initiative.
Well, thank you so much for another episode, for tuning in for another episode of Connecticut at your service. We'll see you next time. Stay tuned.